Mine too.
Why is it your favorite word? How does living intentional impact someone's life, their mental health?
It's so easy to just let life pass us by.
Yep.
Right? We go through the rigmarole of every day, day in and day out. We have a schedule. We're doing this, we're doing that. And then all of a sudden, all this time passes. If we're not intentional with our day, we're not able to experience joy in the same ways. We're not able to connect with ourselves in the same way. And if we're not able to connect with ourselves, then that means that we're oftentimes not taking care of ourselves in the way that we need to. Our focus is just distributed in all these other areas that aren't assisting us personally. And so oftentimes, especially as women, or, you have a family, you put all your focus into taking care of your kids, but you're not intentionally focusing on yourself. And even with our kids, sometimes it's like, it's a job. I got to get up, I got to make their lunches and get them breakfast, and we're going through the motions, but like, are you intentionally connecting with them? Are you intentionally seeing how they're growing up and reflecting on that? Are you intentionally taking care of yourself so that you can be a good influence in their lives, so that you can be a good model for them to look at? So intention is everything. It is everything.
It's everything. It is everything. The way I like to share with people about intentionality, it's I ask, what is your thing that you enjoy doing? So maybe it's a movie, right? Or maybe it's a song. Every time you watch that movie, it could be that same really amazing movie over and over again. When you're intentional, you see something different that you had never seen before. Every day when we're intentional, we experience something that we were doing in a very much robotic way because this is our routine. But every day we are truly invited to see something different, whether that's in our kids or in ourselves or in a table, right, that you're sitting on, or not, you're not sitting on a table, sitting at, right? But there is something different throughout that day. And I love that it brings a different sense of joy, and a sense of peace, an overwhelming sense of peace.
Yes.
There's this calmness. Your movement is different. How you respond to things can also be different, if we are more intentional. And intentional requires us to also not have this space of instant gratification, as we often in our society, everything is instant and everything is gratifying. And when we're intentional, we have to sit with it, we have to experience it, and then the gratification or delayed gratification comes. And sometimes when we're intentional, right, like we might be making something and we know we have to pay attention, that's instantly gratifying. But just overall, intentional is a game changer. It shifts our mind.
I think for me, being intentional gives me a sense of purpose. Like, I am intentionally putting my energy into this. I'm intentionally operating this way or doing this for a reason, and there's going to be an outcome. And then eventually you keep doing it, you see the outcome is going to keep happening. So, yeah, that's why I like living intentionally. I feel like it's really easy to be complacent and then just feel like you said, I'm just in the routine. I'm getting up, going to work. I'm doing this, and it's like the day is not yours. But if you intentionally set your day or your mindset towards something, that could really, really shift it. Like, especially in the morning, like you said, it could really make a big difference.
It can.
Yes. Let's see. What would you say to people who are hesitant to try therapy? As if this wasn't enough. I mean, we've got a lot of good stuff.
We just said it all. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of yourself, because that's really like what it is. Like, therapy allows you to really look in the mirror and see everything really, truly, intentionally. And so don't be afraid of being able to look internally, because even though there's hard work and there may be difficult times, the end result will always leave you in a better space, because you're going to learn more about yourself. You're going to learn more about the world around you. You're going to learn more about what you need. You're going to learn more about what you've experienced and how it impacts you now. So even though the road may be hard through the process, if you see it through, there's no way to lose in the end.
Yep. 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 There's more people of color out there. Of course, it's not enough, but there are more people of color out there to support. And shop around, right?
Mhm.
Contact everybody that you find. See first if they have a 15-minute space for you, and utilize it. Let them know I am shopping around. Here are some questions. Ask questions. Even before that, okay, so before that, since everything is now digital for the most part, check out social media platforms. Check out their TikTok, check out their Instagram, check out their Facebook, so you can get an idea. What are they posting about? What are they skilled in? How many people look like me? And then contact them. See how you feel. How's the vibe? How's the connection? Did they say or use a word that you relate with and that you use often, right? Because then there's connection. And then move forward. You can move forward in a of weekly, bi-weekly, once a month. The biggest thing is just move forward, right? Like I like animated movies, so I'm gonna say another one. Nemo. Dory was spot on when she said, "Just keep swimming, just keep swimming." That's it. That's it.
I'm going to piggyback on that too. Like Sherri was saying, there's so many different clinicians out there, and just look for them. And also, don't let one experience with one clinician stop
Oh,
you.
yes.
Because I hear that so many times. I have clients who are like, I tried therapy a few years ago. I didn't like my therapist, or we didn't connect, so I just stopped.
Yep.
And then, oh, and you waited 4 years to come back? And
Yep.
then all of these things happened in 4 years. When it's like, if you recognize that this is not the person for you, it doesn't mean that they're a bad clinician.
Mm.
That just means that your spirits didn't connect in the way
Yep.
that you needed to be
Yep.
able to get what you needed from them. So find somebody else, and
Mm-hmm.
don't stop until you find that person that you
Mm-hmm.
connect with.
Mm-hmm. And I think Michelle, with what Michelle is speaking to, that's a stigma too, that clients think that they may not be able, they don't have that type of control. You absolutely do. You get to hire a clinician, and then you get to release a clinician if it's not working, and then you get to find another clinician. Now we want to make sure that it's not about you, they're hitting at something and you're like, oh,
Right.
that's the one I don't want you to hit with. I'm gonna go somewhere else. That's but just finding your clinician that really that you connect with. That's huge. That's huge.
Mhm.
So maybe this isn't a great question, and maybe it's just about the connection here, but how would you find a good therapist? Would it just be what you feel you resonate with, or is there anything that to look out for, I guess you would say, to someone who's new looking for a therapist?
Hmm. Well, I think things to look for are someone who you feel comfortable with, because if you don't feel comfortable, then you're not going to share. And if you're
Mhm.
not going to share, therapy is not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So feeling like, hey, like it's not a friendship, but there are friendly aspects
Mhm.
of therapy. So like if I can feel like I can sit back in my seat and be myself and not have to like play a part, like look for that within yourself,
Mhm.
because that's going to be really important. That's going to be number one. And
Mhm.
then thinking about what it is you actually need. What is it that you're looking for from therapy? Like, what are your goals when it comes? Do you want someone who's really direct and
Mhm.
at you right away? Some people don't want that. Do
Yep.
I want someone who's a little bit softer that's going to let me talk a little bit more? Do I want someone who's going to like call me on my BS? You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
and kind of recognize that within yourself and ask. You
Mhm.
know, with Holistically Divine, when we do consultations, I always ask, what is it that you're looking for from a
Mhm.
therapist?
Mhm.
I think that's a key question. And if your therapist isn't asking you or giving you an opportunity to share what it is that you're looking for from them, that might be a little bit of a red flag.
Mhm.
Or if you share, even if they don't ask, if you share like, hey, I would really like it if we could do this, or if you
Mhm.
could be a little bit more direct, and then that clinician doesn't respond to you, or doesn't hear you, or doesn't validate your need, that's a clear sign that that's probably not a good fit.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are good things to look out for. Thank you for sharing those. And I want to come back to something that you said too. You said don't be afraid to like see yourself, heal yourself. I think healing is, of course, it starts with you. But I think it's really cool once you get into your healing process to recognize that you healing isn't just healing yourself. Like you're also healing the people around you because you can teach them how to treat you. If you have children or the younger people around you, you get to teach them the things that you didn't know growing up so that they can be more self-aware and kind of break these, I don't want to say curses, but these generational cycles that we are just into, and nobody steps out of it unless you take a moment to be aware, learn.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
So,
huge.
would you say?
I just said that's huge.
Okay, so you mentioned COVID earlier. We talked about a lot of good things. Like most of my questions we've already discussed. So you mentioned COVID. What changes have you seen in your clients, I guess, or trends, mental health trends have you noticed since COVID has started?
Um, I'm gonna um probably I think the biggest has been shock. And really shock as far as was a few shocks actually. Shock as far as how externally how we are not as in control as we thought we were externally. Which then there's a lot of grief there. I would also say um, anxiety. We know that anxiety exists. We know that we all experience it in a different way, but just another increased level of anxiety with just COVID itself. But this idea of when we were all asked to stay at home, and often because we are a very fast-paced society, home wasn't we weren't home often. We were out and about often. So this idea of what do I do in my home? Again, another level of shock. Isolation for sure. If you don't have family close by or within your own home, just a lot of clients that were maybe from different states, whether that's because of work or whatever, just really feeling isolated and alone. I saw a lot of that in my clients and working through that. And then just the fear of COVID itself, getting sick and being impacted. And then I've had a lot of clients that their family members passed from COVID. So all of the things, I guess, that would be the answer.
Did you feel like there was a large uptick? Like, could you tell the difference once COVID hit? Or was it you just started seeing differences in your already client, like your clients that you already had?
I would say both, but when insurance was paying, when insurance was allowing clients not to have to pay their copay, that increased for sure. And this accessibility across state line too, um, definitely an increase.
I'm going to co-sign on every single thing that Sherri said. But then also, when COVID hit, I was doing a lot more online therapy. So I worked for two different online therapy companies, and both of which, one in particular, did a lot of work of reaching out to people because of COVID, because people couldn't leave their homes or weren't leaving their homes and were isolated, just offering therapy so much more, like contracting with schools to provide students with therapy. And so I saw
Mhm.
a huge, like my caseload just doubled, almost tripled, like really quickly. And like the need for therapists, I'm like, we need people to take clients, please, like please. And so that was a lot. Just people needing that because of the isolation, the anxiety, the fear, all of that. A lot of I had a lot of parents who were having difficulty managing work as well as schooling their children when their children were at home. That was so difficult. It was so difficult difficult for so many parents trying to figure out how to navigate just taking care of it all. And that was a huge struggle.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any child or adolescent clients during that time, so I can't speak to them, but I can imagine just based on the parents that I've spoken to, that a lot of children were having so many problems as well, being isolated from their friends. And we have to think about also with everybody being isolated at home, some homes are not healthy and some homes are toxic. So now you're forcing these children and people to remain in this toxic home and maybe school or work were their only outlets of creating a little semblance of safety. So that was really hard. I think the other thing that I saw, and I'm not going to go deep on it, I'm just going to share it because it's a thing, was that COVID obviously is very politicized. There's a lot of other things, undercurrents along with COVID. So people battling that along with the racial tensions that seemed to happen like right at the same time, like that was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like everything came to a head. So you have this combination of all the things we just talked about with COVID, and then the racial tensions and people dying of racial things as well as of COVID, and all of that meshed together was just incredible, I think, for people to try to even deal with. It was just like, I can't even fathom that. So trying to work through that as well, I think was a big thing for so many of my friends.
Has it seemed to get, has there been any improvement since we're like year 2 of the pandemic? Or does it still seem to be increasing, stagnant, decreasing? Like,
You know, it was exposure. I think that's Michelle, you speaking to the racial tensions and COVID and the politics and the administration that was transitioning out, right? It just helped people understand you're needing something else now that you never thought you would go for, counseling, right? Therapy. But now you're recognizing, okay, no, look, I'm at home. I can't go anywhere. I need something else. So now let me try it. So I really believe that all of this, as challenging and I would even use horrific, it exposed mental health in a way that was like welcoming, right? Go find someone and talk with them. I would say that's the change now. And so now we're still seeing more people reaching out, still impacted by COVID, but now they're just now they are now reaching out because they know they want additional support.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that makes sense. And so, you mentioned children, Michelle. In regards to children, are there different signs to look for with them if they are not receiving needs, just because kids don't really know how to express anything, not like adults typically do? So how would a parent look for signs in their adolescent child, like their young child or teenage child?
Mhm.
I think behaviorally is one of the biggest things, the behaviors, the shift in behaviors that are atypical for them and atypical to their developmental stage, right? Because like there are some stages where you might be more emotional when you're going through puberty, but then like you're honing in on it, you're paying attention, you're kind of identifying, is this a typical puberty type thing, or is this something that seems like more? But if I'm asking questions and I'm being open and letting them have the space to talk through it, you'll be able to probably find out a little bit more or see a little bit more. But I think behaviors is going to be the biggest thing. Are they isolating from their friends? Are they isolating from their parents? Are they closing off? Are they talking more? Are they even as things like, are they wetting the bed?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, like
Mhm.
are they just different things like that? Are they paying attention to what they're wearing depending on the age? Has that shifted? Are they becoming more clingy if they're
Mhm.
younger? Are they like wanting to now sleep in your bed? Are they having night terrors or nightmares more frequently? Sleep disruptions, appetite. I
Their
think
play.
their
Yeah.
play.
the
all
way
of,
they're drawing or coloring or not.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you for those. Those are all very helpful.
Sabo, if I can just say the high schoolers, there was something that impacted many high schoolers of um, now seeing what their friends' homes looked like, and so there were a few stories and experiences where best friends now are no longer best friends because they might have a sign that has an X on Black Lives Matter in their home, or just other things that are out there that they didn't know they supported, and maybe it wasn't the team per se, but maybe it was a family member. So it exposed what's going on in the home, on just a different level.
Mhm.
Very true. At home or like on social media, you get to see with all those things coming up, you get to kind of see where people stand because more people were outraged and voicing more. And you're like, oh, you're silent? Oh, okay, allowed to say.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of O's. Oh, okay. That may be surprising. So,
Mhm.
oh, I did have another question. So do you have any advice for the LGBTQ plus community who may be struggling with being accepted by their loved ones, or any of their struggles? I know that's huge. Just
Yeah, that's
So
huge.
that's a full question.
Well, yeah. Seeking support, and support could look like going online and just typing in LGBTQ plus groups, support groups. A lot of organizations, if they could, they were able to move and shift online. So starting there, finding, not just, you don't have to go, you don't have to seek out a therapist right away, but find people who look like you and are experiencing the things that isolation, the things that you might be experiencing, and put yourself in a space where you can see other people in the room so that you can feel this sense of community, and have the ability to share. That will be the first to answer that huge question.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. And then, should you decide to get
Mhm.
therapy along with that additional support, making sure that the therapist that you choose is an ally, and possibly even has some experience working with other people within the community. Because I think that's from what I've gathered, like my clients, they said, I sought you out because I know that it says in your bio that you've worked with people in my community before and that you're an ally. And that means something to them because it helps create a level of comfort. So, most likely, therapists that do work with this community will say it
Mhm.
and we'll put it out there so that you know who to go to.
Mhm.
And then to flip it, I don't know if this changes your answer at all, but the loved ones who may be struggling with their children or other loved ones transitioning, maybe being open-minded to the change or not, whatnot.
I think the same thing as support. There's a lot of support for families of people in the LGBTQ plus community, no matter where they are in the community. Just getting the support to help you identify what is going on within you, where your feelings are stemming from, and
Yeah.
how to like kind of rectify that for yourself so that it's
Mm.
not impacting those relationships, especially if it's a loved one.
Mhm.
Thank you. We talked a lot about your profession and what you do, but personally, how do you both stay balanced dealing with everyone else's heaviness and just with your day to day? Like you take on a lot.
Mhm.
So Sherri, you start off.
How do I, so the idea of balance, the only way to answer the balance is, um, I do that thing of before my feet hit the ground, I really check in with myself. And so maybe that's something that I'm reading. Maybe that's just me asking my series of questions. I like to listen to music. I like to think about, the day and what it, maybe that's looking at my calendar, but not until I have settled within myself. That's my balance. So I have to do that in the morning. I know that my day is going to look differently if I don't. So really honing in on that. And then at night, I do a wind down routine. I actually got it from when Insecure started doing their wind down conversation. So I do my wind down routine. But then throughout the day, I would say I probably don't have, I'm not, I don't have that balance piece because I might be doing so much more. Um, and so what I like to say is that music, I sing, and I try to sing loud, because that helps me. What does it release? Is it serotonin or
Mm.
endorphin? Right? Like, and I know when that's happening. I ride my Peloton, I do meditations, I pray, I just do all of the things as often as I possibly can each day. And that's how I feel centered. If I don't feel centered, then I do not show up for my clients, meaning I need to just communicate that I'm not feeling well today, because I just can't get out of whatever is going on, right? Maybe I'm in a grief moment or stage, and I can't, truly can't. But otherwise, I just do all the things, eat food, drink a lot of water. I love apples and peanut butter. Actually, I've noticed that has, since in COVID, I've noticed that boosts my energy. All the things that it says it does. But I like enjoy it. Like it's actually fun. And then talk with the family and laugh. I like to laugh a lot, a whole lot, actually. That's some of the things, right?
Yeah.
I can see why you two get along, because you mentioned, like, I don't know how many times, and I don't think Michelle likes music, but no.
I feel like the word balance just doesn't quite exist for me, in the sense that you would think that it would exist. Like balance means everything goes smoothly and I got everything under control. No, that's not real life. It just comes and goes. My balance does this, all the time. But I think like recognizing that that's what my life looks like, and acceptance every day, accepting that, and every day, like making that intentional decision to enjoy my day. Like I really truly, I don't know where I get that from. I'm just kind of been this way. I do have anxiety sometimes, but I've really learned how to just wake up in the morning and say, today is a good day. I woke up, I'm excited. I got these things going on, like a sense of accomplishment. When I get things done, that makes me feel good. So that's one piece of it. I also know that I have to move my body. Even if it's not every single day, I have to move my body. I'm a dancer, I'm a dance teacher. So like going to teach once a week does so much for me. Just like being, even if I'm not dancing, even if I'm just at the dance studio within that environment, like that brings so much joy to my heart. I go to the gym, and that is fantastic. Like just burning calories and sweating. It really doesn't even have anything to do with the calories. It's just like sweating and moving and feeling good in my body does something for me. So when I miss out on days, I can tell that I'm a little bit off. So those are the things that make me feel really good, and making sure that I get enough sleep, which it never really seems to be enough. Sometimes I'm like, I need a little bit more, but just trying my best to get as much sleep as I can. And then making sure that I have time to connect with my family and laugh a lot, listen to music a lot, dance in the kitchen a lot, all of those things.
A lot.
A lot. But I think one thing that I do every day is I make sure to have a little bit of quiet time. I literally have to have complete silence for a little while every day, even if it's just like for 5 minutes. So I've gotten into this routine of like, when I put my youngest one to sleep, even though everybody else is still awake, I'll go in the bathroom just to sit for like 5 or 10 minutes, and like, Mom, where are you? Don't worry about me. I'll be down in a little while. I just need like 5 or 10 minutes to just completely recenter, decompress. And that really helps me a lot.
I would, yeah, I co-sign that as well. The
Well,
shower is my space. It's just, mhm.
love it. And music, dance, I think it just kind of goes back to getting back to the childhood you. Like, what things make your soul happy? What did you do when you were a kid that like really, really made you happy? And music, for the people who don't know, Michelle is my sister. Music has been huge in our household forever. I mean, since we were born, and I'm sure way before that with my parents. But music is huge. It really does a lot. So.
Mhm.
Love that. And you said one more thing, Michelle, before we wrap up. I know I keep saying that, but that made me think about something. You were saying accepting that this is what balance looks like for you. Acceptance to me is like so huge, to be able to either accept the reality of your life, like where you are. That to me plays a big role on your mindset, because if you aren't able to accept where you are, you're always going to feel like a hamster in a wheel. And also accepting that life doesn't stay the same. So you're accepting your reality, but you also have to accept the evolution of life and the cycle of life's changes. Don't try to hold on to it. You kind of like gotta let it flow.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
It
did
ends
you?
the battle, the internal battle. When we accept something, it ends that internal battle.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of freedom there.
Exactly. Yep.
So did you, either of you have anything else you wanted to add on any type of topic before we close out for today?
I think this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I think this is beautiful. I really, really do. It's amazing. And I know for me, this is another way to, it's another avenue for making change towards healthiness and wholeness. And so I'm grateful that you have this space, Sable. I really am. Not just because we were talking about mental health, but because you have this space, and you're asking amazing and empowering questions, and you're bringing people who look different in, and just working towards healing and wholeness, because lived we have lived our lives, and the people that we know have lived their lives, and just so much toxicity and unhealthiness is it needs to change. So
Yeah,
thank you for this space.
you're
Yep.
welcome.
I agree.
Thank
I
you.
agree.
Thank you. Thank you. It goes back to, you said safe. The world seems and feels so unsafe at times. And I just wanted to create another safe space. And not everyone is open to therapy. So I wanted to create space to talk about those things. So hopefully people will be open to therapy if they need it, and all of that. So, yes. So for the people who are open to therapy, may want to sign up, meet up with you, how would they contact you? And what would you like to give a
I'll
rundown?
let you take this one because I work under her practice. So she's got all the information. So if you need me right now, you would go through Holistically Divine. So
Mhm. And we would get you connected with Michelle. But yeah, holisticallydivine.org. We're a private practice. You just go to our website. We have a short form. Just need your birth date, and dates that you're available, times, and first and last name and email. And if you want to share what's going on, you're more than welcome to. We have a social media page, Holistically Divine, at holisticallydivine.org, that you can follow us just to get to know us a little bit. Check out our website. And yeah.
Yay, that was awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here today. This means a lot because we've had plenty of conversations, but we haven't had professional perspectives to actually talk about mental health. And I think that, self-care and trying to self-love and self-improve is important, but also knowing to get professional help, like that's okay too. Like that's also needed. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you.
thanks for having us. It was great.
Yes.
You're welcome. So Wolfpack, that wraps up this week. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you all next week. Stay safe. I think I pushed stop, but it's not.